Hello again to our audience here. We have about 16, 17 people to our fourth and our final webinar. My name is Beth Foss, and this week I am hosting from Nashville. So last week I was in Wilmington, Delaware with one son, and this week I am helping my son Matthew move in Nashville. So I'm looking forward to a little reprieve. So I wanted to first of all say thank you to our sponsors. I want to make sure I get that out there. Allergan and Biogen. They were the ones that provided funding for this webinar series. I also wanted just to say thank you right now to my co-host, Nick Peterson from Vis-Ability. He has provided lots of great information to our group on different technology, adaptive equipment, and today we're learning about software. You know, some of the surveys, thank you to those of you that have done the surveys and have given us good input, and I would highly recommend if there are things that you would like us to continue, whether it be technology or other information, please let us know via that survey. You can email me if you like. There are some people that commented that they would like more in-depth information about several aspects of technology. We can do that too, I believe, depending on Nick's schedule and what the schedule looks like. So all that to say, thank you so much. And this is for the Choroideremia Research Foundation, this has been our first attempt at doing such a webinar series. So thank you for bearing with us. And we just so appreciate all of you being here. If you will remember, for those of you that have been here before, there is a chat icon at the very bottom or depending at the very top of your screen. And we have all of you muted on purpose because it gets way too chaotic with people chiming in and out. So if you could please use that icon. I guess on a Mac, I'm not very technologically savvy, so maybe Nick can tell maybe how there's some commands that you can press on your keyboard to access that chat, but you can just go to the bottom and find it with your cursor. And if you have a question, please go ahead and type it in, and I'll be sure to express that to Nick. That's my role. And again, we'll be recording this, so you can access it at a later date. All that to say, I think that's it. So thank you for joining us, and I'm going to turn it over to Nick.
Thanks, Beth. Boy, a month has flown by. First off, at least on a PC, it looks like the command to open the chat box is Alt plus H. So if you press and hold Alt, then press H, you should be able to bring up the chat dialog box and be able to type in your question from there. It's probably different on a Mac keyboard. If you're using a Mac keyboard, I anticipate it would be Command plus H, but I'm not 100% certain about that. If you happen to know as a Mac user, feel free to put that in the chat dialog for those who might not know. That being said, so I'm Nick Peterson from Vis-Ability. I live in upstate New York. As of yesterday, I actually live near Ithaca now. This is my last time coming to my last place to finish off with you guys. I know the windows behind me are a little bright. A lot of what we're going to be seeing today is going to be done by me sharing my screen, so you won't be suffering through that much. But I'm going to be showing you guys several different types of software that I hope are helpful to you guys if you're not familiar with them already. A lot of the software we're going to go over today does offer a free trial period, so something to try out if you haven't already. If you have questions, of course, let us know. Like I mentioned in previous webinars, Vis-Ability sells assistive technology, assistive software as well. And I was a assistive technology instructor for several years at the Association for the Blind, training people on how to use these sorts of programs and devices, which is how I got to meet Beth and the wonderful people at CRF, and I'm in front of all you guys today. That being said, so the first thing that I think people need to be aware of, and a lot of people are not aware of, especially from what I've learned about individuals with choroideremia, is that high contrast mode or high contrast screens tend to do better with the remaining vision for individuals with choroideremia. That may not be your case, but I'm going to show you guys how to quickly turn on high contrast mode on my PC in just a moment. So I'm going to share my screen. And also share my sound, so you can still hear me, correct? Should be able to.
Yes.
Okay. So, Ease of Access Center is where you're going to have access to several different free built-in software options on a PC. You can simply press the Windows key, and I'm going to go to the desktop here. Press the Windows key and then type in Ease, E-A-S-E. And along the left side of my screen is a whole bunch of suggestions that the computer is making of programs that start with Ease. Because I've used Ease of Access Center, it's bringing up several options there. So I can actually arrow down and find like Ease of Access high contrast settings here. And then we have a whole bunch of options here as well. Notice perhaps that it says press left alt, left shift, and print screen to turn on high contrast mode on and off. So that's the fastest and the easiest way of doing that. Or you can simply...
Hey, I'm sorry, Nick, to interrupt you, but we aren't
Sure.
seeing that. Right now, what we see is the quality indicators for assistive technology. We're not seeing what you're doing. Your screen is shared, but it's not, as you're opening and saying what you're doing, we don't see that component of it. Oh, it says Kate Edwards, we can't see his screen. I can see your screen though. Let's try, hold on. See the contact us and quick links. Yes, that's what I see too, Kathy. So what we're seeing is the ATIA, and it says on the left, contact us and quick links.
You're still seeing, that's weird. Why are you seeing that? You're not seeing, screen sharing is paused. Oh, okay. Okay. Better now?
Not where I'm at. No, sir. There we go. Well, yes, better. Yes, now your cursor is at the minimal icon, minimize. About 8.
Sorry, everybody. It's minimizing, or it's stopping the share when I minimize this program. That's really odd. That's really odd. Well, that's okay. We don't need to look at that program anyhow. But you're now seeing my desktop, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, like I was saying, left shift, left alt, and print screen will turn on high contrast mode. And it's going to come up with this icon here, this pop-up. Do you want to turn on high contrast? All you need to do is hit enter here, and it will make everything the reverse contrast. So black becomes white, white becomes black, and that's likely much more friendly for the average individual with low vision. Want to minimize that. Okay. You're still seeing that, right? Left shift, left alt, print screen to turn on high contrast mode and off. And again, if you wanted to explore those options yourself, all you need to do is press the Windows key on your PC type in ease, and then enter, and it will bring you to the ease of access center.
Right now, Nick, what we're seeing, I'm just reviewing what people are saying here, is your desktop extended. Are we seeing the second screen? And from Brent, what program were we talking about again? Are you able to?
This is Ease of Access Center. It's a built-in program on PCs that maximizes the built-in software for individuals with low vision. So high contrast mode, we can also turn on Windows Magnifier, which I'm going to show you in just a moment. You should now be seeing ATIA page again. Or sharing screen. You should be able to see the ATIA homepage. Not my desktop. It's interesting.
That's correct.
Okay. Well, as long as I have the program at least on the desktop, it's still allowing me to share it from what I'm seeing. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that was going to be happening. But you guys can still see what I'm referring to. The next thing I wanted to show you is Windows Magnifier. So again, this is built into a PC. It is free to use. You can do this from the Ease of Access Center also, which again is Windows key and then type in ease, E-A-S-E, or just simply press and hold the Windows key and the plus on the number pad to increase magnification. This is Windows 10. I believe Windows 7 also had this functionality. Notice how we can jump from 100 to 200 to 300 to 400 times magnification just by simply pressing the key a few times. So this is Windows Magnifier. It gets very, very big very quickly. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of control in between the size delineation. It's straight from 100 to 200 times to 300 to 400, et cetera, et cetera. If you needed much more than that, it's going to become very pixelated very quickly and would be borderline unusable, like so. If you needed more magnification than that, you're probably going to be looking at using something like ZoomText instead. So again, to turn that on, I'm just simply pressing the Windows key and up arrow, and rather Windows key and plus, or Windows key and minus to decrease magnification. And again, this is built into PCs. Windows key and escape will make it go away. If you needed more magnification than that, ZoomText would be a great place to look. Any questions before we move on?
Well, Wayne gives a really good point here. It sounds like we have a good amount of folks in our organization that are joining us here again today that have some experience with this. So I so appreciate everybody's comments here. Wayne shared that you can alter the percentage that it zooms in and out in the settings as well.
Fantastic. Like I was saying, with ZoomText, might give you a little more control over what's happening on the screen as well. So ZoomText is not free software. It's from a company called Vis-Ability, and it is available internationally. I'm just making sure that I'm not going to lose my screen share because ZoomText is now running. Doesn't look it. Are we able to see the windows, the window for ZoomText on the screen here?
Not yet. We still have the ATIA. Nick, do you see the comment from David?
No.
It says, if you're still having trouble sharing the Zoom, you could try share screen with the entire desktop. It seems like maybe the Zoom is selected to just share the Chrome app right now.
It would seem that way. And I'm not certain how to do that. Oh, I gotcha. Okay. Much easier. Thank you, David. All right, so now that we've figured that out, ZoomText is on the screen here. And this is my desktop. In the background here is the hotel at ATIA, or where ATIA takes place twice a year, or had been taking place twice a year every year. And that's the Assistive Technology Industry Association has this biannual conference where vendors and designers and manufacturers from all over the world bring their assistive technology. And that's not just for people with vision loss, it's all sorts of disability disciplines. It happens at this hotel here. And is really a fantastic opportunity to see the newest and the best in terms of technology as it's coming out. So that's what's happening there and what I miss anytime I'm not there. Here, right in the middle of the screen, we have the ZoomText window. So what I'm going to do straight away is change the color because I know that that's going to be appreciated. ZoomText allows us to change the color of the screen to any color imaginable. You could make the entire screen purple and yellow if that's what your vision loss or visual situation was best assisted by. We can change it to black and white and black, blue dye, any color of the rainbow, any color possible for individuals. I'm going to put it back on white and black, but like I said, it could be changed in anything. Of course, we can increase the magnification, hence the name ZoomText. And you'll notice that the increase of magnification is much smaller increments possible. What I'm doing is clicking with the large pointer that I have, thanks to ZoomText, right on the magnification box, where I can actually use my keyboard. Caps lock plus up arrow also allows me to increase the magnification. And I can go as high as I possibly could need, and it's not going to create that kind of pixelation that we might have seen with Windows Magnifier. Now granted, if you're using, 7 times magnification, that means you're seeing a much smaller amount on the screen. It may at some point be less burdensome to use JAWS, which we'll have a look at in a few minutes. But for some people, this is the magnification they use, or even higher. All I'm doing is caps lock and up and down arrow. I should mention ZoomText, JAWS, and Openbook are all available as a free 45-minute download. So if you wanted to try out this software, if you went to the Vispero website or just simply did an internet search for a ZoomText download, JAWS or Openbook download, you can find that these programs. And I've included a link to those websites in the PowerPoint. So if that's something you were interested in seeing, you could certainly something you could check out. Here we have pointer enhancements. And we've got a nice large green pointer here because a lot of people tend to like that. But also as a preset, we've got red with circle, like so. So that's literally red with a circle. We've got yellow with full crosshairs. Or something like circle when moving. So if I'm not moving the pointer, it just goes back to the white, but when I'm moving it, it goes to a blue pointer enhancement. And again, those can all be customized. So if you like the size of the giant green, but you wanted it in red or in yellow or turquoise or any color of the rainbow, that can be customized also. Or any of the other enhancements as well. Some people like large yellow or large red or with the crosshairs. It's really wide open. We've also got cursor enhancements here, and I'm going to open Microsoft Word. So on the bottom left corner of the screen, we have a blue wedge cursor enhancement. So the cursor is the flashing bar, and above and below the cursor is a blue wedge, but there's other enhancements as well. So really whatever works best for someone is possible. Oops. So some people really like ZoomText that if you're using a higher magnification, let's say you're using whatever this was, 7 or 8 times magnification, you've got a pretty small amount of screen you're working with. But if you start typing anything, it automatically jumps your pointer, the screen rather, back to the cursor. So you're not left for long periods of time scrolling around the screen. Where is the cursor? Where did it go? All you need to do is press a key on the keyboard. In this case, I'm going to press down arrow. And here we are.
Hey, Nick, that's one of the things that I think that a lot of people struggle with is just trying to find that cursor. You know, some of all my friends here that work with me at the foundation, that's one of our major gripes is that where is the stupid cursor, because it's really hard to find. So can you just say that one more time?
Sure. And something else along those lines. So like I said, if you're using ZoomText and you start typing, it automatically jumps the screen, which can be magnified to 10, 12, 20 times magnification. This is 12 times magnification. And I'm going to come back to Microsoft Word, and here we are. I've got the menu at the top of the screen, and I know I typed something. Where did it go? Where did it go? And it's pretty frustrating, undoubtedly. But if you type anything on the keyboard, it automatically jumps the view on the keyboard, the view on the screen rather, back to where your cursor is. Or for those who have the vision that would enable this, if you press and hold the caps lock and then press the enter key, it automatically wipes out the magnification and brings it back to 1 times magnification. Or just simply doing that again, caps lock and enter, brings you back to the magnification you were using. So it does everything it can to possibly be accessible and not a total headache. When I'm using ZoomText, I like to shift between the programs by pressing and holding Alt and then Tab. So press and hold Alt. It brings up this list of active programs right in the middle of the screen. And each time I press Tab, it shifts the focus to a new program. And then when I release Alt, it brings me back to that program that I've now selected. It's a little difficult to see, and with something like ZoomText Magnifier Reader talking as well, it's much easier to manage. That's how I'm shifting between the programs relatively easily. That's what I'm doing here.
You know, from Brent, it says the functions that you're doing are not necessarily showing up on your shared screen to us, unless that's your intent. For example, contrast, color, zoom up and down.
I'm hoping that you're seeing what I'm showing on the screen here. Are you not seeing the contrast? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, right now I see the ZoomText magnifier reader, small little center box.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What color screen are you seeing, Beth?
White.
Oh.
You know, and Eric just texted me and said, when I use ZoomText, the most helpful way was to use the full crosshair, which gives you a vertical and horizontal line, which you could move.
Right. And that's one of the presets. So it just depends on what someone's preference is. Are we able to see the crosshairs on the left now? We've got vertical line coming above and below the yellow pointer, and then left and right of the yellow pointer. The line is a little faint, can be darkened. What's that?
Actually,
I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry, we don't. We just see the little white pointer still. Nothing has changed, Nick.
Oh, goodness. My apologies. I was thinking that this would be visible for you on your screen as well. Well, I would suggest if you're wanting to have a closer look at that, try it out yourself. Like I said, ZoomText is available for a free download, and it would give you the chance to see what color options work best for you, the pointer, the cursor, that sort of thing. And my apologies, because I moved earlier this week, we didn't have the opportunity to test this out the way that we had done with our previous webinars, and I think that's showing here. So again, my apologies that that's not your experience on your end as well here. Because I don't think I can change that here. Well, with JAWS, that won't matter because it doesn't change the screen at all. So let's have a look at JAWS. So, of course, ZoomText rather, has reading capability as well. I've turned it off.
Voice enabled. Increase voice rate. Tool decrease voice rate. Rate 100.
And what it's doing is it's speaking whatever I'm hovering over with my pointer.
Keyboard. Tooltip keyboard. Tool mouse.
Yes, we can hear that.
Tooltip verbosity. Caps tool mouse. Tool keyboard.
And you can change that.
Rate
So if you don't
voice.
want it
Rate
talking
100.
constantly, you can change their verbosity.
Voice. Rate 100. Voice.
How much background information it's giving you. You can change it so it's typing, right? Whether it's speaking what you're typing or not, or whether it's instantly speaking what you're hovering over with the mouse or not. It really gives you a lot of control over how much speech is happening. This is ZoomText Reader Magnifier now, and I would imagine there'll be questions as far as cost. Again, like I said, it's available as a free 45-minute download. It's $500 roughly anyway for the basic ZoomText without speech, or $700 with speech. JAWS, which we're going to have a look at next, is
ZoomText Magnifier. Hello, ZoomText menu button. ZoomText Magnifier read voice disabled.
What are you saying, Beth?
Is that a one-time fee, a cost to get ZoomText, or is that an annual?
So, good question. That is a fee for the first year. They also have service maintenance agreements where you can purchase the next several years worth of the software for a drastic reduction in cost. The program will continue to work for a few years beyond the year that it was purchased, but increasingly you'll see some incompatibilities with new software if you're using like ZoomText from 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago, etc. There's no subscription fee for the software, but if it's something you're going to want to be able to use down the road, if at all possible, I would recommend getting the service maintenance agreement to maintain functionality.
Brent Pike is with us today, and he's been to all of these. So much appreciate Brent, you joining us. He had a couple thoughts here. His first point was, do you know anything, please, about the ZoomText? And he's been told by his DVR that Fusion ZoomText is good for transitional degenerative vision loss. Can you talk to that at all?
Absolutely. So what ZoomText Fusion is a combination of ZoomText, which is a program that I just showed you guys very poorly, and JAWS. So while somebody is using ZoomText, they're using their own eyes, they're magnifying, they're changing the contrast, the pointer enhancements, the cursor enhancements, to be able to use the screen, to be able to use their own eyes to the best capability while they still have the existing vision. At some point, especially with choroideremia, of course, some people experience total blindness. And at that point, JAWS is going to be the preferred software because it doesn't bother with any kind of screen enhancements, anything like that. It's all done auditorily, which is what I'll show you guys next. ZoomText Fusion is a combination of those two software together, so that while you're, maybe there's good days and your eyes are doing well for you, ZoomText would be the software you'd use, but down the road, JAWS would be the long-term solution towards being able to keep using a computer. Great question, though.
So Fusion, so again, Brent asked the question, so Fusion costs more since it's both ZoomText and JAWS?
Yes, yes, exactly. So ZoomText, like I said, it's, and this is New York State pricing, pricing in New York State. I think it's rather universal, but United States dollars. So if you're international, it'd probably be different wherever you are. I would suggest trying out the software, certainly. Typically,
Alert.
I was saying
from Kath.
Now it's going to be talking the messages. ZoomText, JAWS, and Openbook, which we're going to look at in a few minutes, are all available as a 45-minute download. So you could hypothetically download the software and use it for 45 minutes each time, at which point you'd have to restart your computer to keep using it. It would be time consuming, it would be burdensome, but it would make it somewhat possible to keep using the software. I don't believe that it ever times out and makes it impossible for you to use.
Alert.
Just a couple more comments, if I could, before we start. From another individual, it says, I use ZoomText for almost 12 years on a Microsoft Windows operating system. And it was a huge bonus for my productivity, primarily by being able to use the invert colors and the full crosshair cursor. Also having a dedicated ZoomText keyboard with a dedicated function buttons was a plus.
Yeah.
And then Brent shared
keyboard.
Limit on free 45-minute downloads with a question mark.
No, Brent, I don't believe so. You can download it. You don't need to download it each 45 minutes. You just simply download the program, then it's on the computer. But it only allows you to use it for 45 minutes before you need to restart the program. So you don't need to download it again. And like I said, I don't believe it ever times out. So potentially you could use it like that for months and or years. Again, I don't know that for 100% certainty, but I believe that is the case. So it might be something to look into, and if it works for you, then it's some kind of solution, though not ideal, I would imagine.
I think that's it for right now.
Okay. Well, let's have a look at the JAWS now. So JAWS, like I said, is the other half of ZoomText Fusion. So JAWS Professional doesn't enhance the screen in any way. It doesn't magnify the screen. It doesn't change anything. But what it does is it talks, and it's the most widely used and the most respected screen reader in the world, because it makes it possible for somebody with literally no sight. I know many people with no sight who are top of their field in any given field potentially because of JAWS. It also works with Braille devices, Braille displays, Braille note takers. It's very capable. So it's running now. It doesn't necessarily look it because it's just showing the background. But
Caps lock off.
will obviously speak any key I touch on the screen.
Cortana. Desktop. Folder view list view.
Some things to keep in mind.
JAWS
with JAWS.
2019.
You can change the speech rate, of course.
Faster. Slower. Slower.
I'm doing this with the keyboard, and there's probably hundreds, there certainly are hundreds of JAWS hotkeys possible, dozens to be even work close to being proficient in.
Slower.
But agencies like Hadley do offer training on JAWS. JAWS software actually has a list of hotkeys in the software, but again, that's going to be
JAWS Professional. JAWS context menu. Help menu. Menu.
Let me show you where that is before the question.
JAWS context menu.
So if you go to the
Help
JAWS
menu.
menu and it's
Help.
talking,
H. Help menu. Command search insert plus space. Leaving menus. Once you pick a topic and press enter on it.
but we've got a whole
Level 1.
of
Topic keystrokes for popular
commands
applications.
and everything under the
5 of
built
5.
into the help list. Something to consider, something
JAWS Professional.
specific to what you're doing is a program-specific hotkey list. And this is useful across whatever program you're using, whether it be Microsoft Office, Google Chrome, whatever, is insert and H. And again, that's a program-specific hotkey list. So if I look at the desktop,
Inbox left paren 11 right paren dash visibility. Escape. Windows D.
here's our desktop.
Here are some JAWS hotkeys for general use : description.
There's a whole list of general hotkeys, and I can arrow up and arrow down through all of them.
Escape. Following are useful Windows keyboard commands :
And important to mention, Control makes JAWS stop talking, which you'd lose your mind if JAWS just kept talking nonstop with something you didn't necessarily want to think about. It doesn't turn the speech off, it just makes it stop briefly until you do something else. This is insert in W is a program-specific hotkey list.
To access an to open the start menu, press Ctrl plus ESC or the Windows key.
And now I'm just arrowing
For Windows
down.
help, to exit an application, press Alt plus F4.
That's not specific to JAWS, in fact. That would work on any PC. It closes a program. But for JAWS, it's a lot easier than trying to negotiate finding the X in the upper right corner of the window.
To cycle between the taskbar, start button, and desktop.
So for anybody who's going to try out JAWS on their own, insert
Escape.
is going to be your best friend in the short term. That being said, the insert key is not necessarily the key you're thinking of next to the delete key in the 6-pack above the arrow keys. If you're using a keyboard that has a number pad, the 0 on the number pad actually becomes the JAWS key or the insert key. And I'll say that a few times because that's a little complicated. But whenever JAWS is turned on, it automatically turns off number lock on the number pad. So the numbers are no longer numbers, they're the secondary functions of those keys come into play. 0 becomes insert. So if you press and hold the insert key or the 0 key and then W, that is your program-specific hotkey list. That's a lot easier than trying to find the insert key in the 6-pack.
Meeting controls.
Would imagine there's some questions there.
Actually, there aren't any right now.
Okay, so that made sense, good. Insert plus W is program-specific hotkey list. So let's have a look at Word again, because Word is already open. We were looking at Word before. Rather than Alt-Tab, I'm going to press and hold Insert and then F10.
Window list dialog. Running application.
Which brings up a list of running applications. Again, this is something that would come up on the hotkey list, insert W. And if I go
Inbox left paren 11 right paren dash visibility.nick.
notice it's reading everything as I'm arrowing down. Oh,
Document 1 dash word.
that's what I want right there. I just hit enter
Enter.
and it brings me,
Document 1 dash word.
again, it's not, the contrast isn't changed, and apologies if the white is burdensome to eyes. Here, let me turn that off.
High contrast. Enter. Document 1 dash word.
So I've got high contrast mode back on again, but JAWS is still running. If I wanted to run that list of program-specific hotkey lists, insert plus W.
The following MIS-word shortcut keys may be useful.
This is
Create a new
all-
document control. Alert.
And then
From Brent Pike to
I just press control to make it stop talking. Apologies to Brent. Arrowing up and arrowing down would read each of those hotkeys to you and would be an excellent way to learn how to do some of these things that would be.
open an existing document control plus O.
And then when I'm done with it, I press
Escape.
escape.
Hello.
And it's gone.
My name is Nick. Edit.
So we had a question there though.
Nope, it was just from Brent saying the contrast worked.
Alert.
We're going to need a bigger boat.
I like it. Yeah.
You know, I think, you know, as we're going through this today, everyone, you know, this has been probably the fourth and final webinar that we're doing today. This is the most complicated. You know, when we were planning out the series and talking with Nick and screen sharing and the other adaptive pieces and apps and so forth that we've done, that was easier to show and illustrate. And this capability is tricky because as you're trying to present the information, you're also having JAWS speak, and it's just more technologically difficult to share this with our group here. So thank you for your understanding of that piece. And I don't want to interrupt your talk here, Nick, but as you finish up, if you could just kind of, again, either now at the end of JAWS or at the end of the presentation, just speak again as to the best. I'm sure they're linked on your presentation, but for most people, I think they're just going to need to spend time.
Right.
I think a lot of our folks here today and in our organization certainly have JAWS and use ZoomText, but just again, the best tools that they can practice with. I'm going to mute myself.
And my advice to anybody who's, regardless of eye condition, anybody who's experiencing progressive vision loss, my advice to them today is learn the keys on a keyboard, because it's so much easier to learn JAWS if you already know where the command key, the control key is, or the applications key, or the tab key, or what the applications key does, which I would imagine is a little foreign to a lot of folks. Learn where the keys are, learn what they do, so that when the day comes when you can't see the keys anymore, that's not hamstringing your efforts to learn JAWS. By the way, the applications key, which on my keyboard is to the right of space, to the right of the Alt key, between Alt and the arrow keys, is like
applications.
Options.
Menu. Alert.
It's almost like right
From Kathy Wagner to
because again, I don't think I mentioned this before, but the average JAWS user doesn't use a mouse because it's not going to be particularly helpful to them. applications and other keys on the keyboard stand in for what a JAWS or what a mouse would be capable of.
Alert. Escape. Leaving menus.
And
Edit.
my advice is learn the keys while you can.
So Nick, we have a
Meeting
couple
controls.
questions here. Does JAWS conflict with any speech-to-text function, app, or software, or do you have to be adept at using a keyboard only?
Speech to text, like Dragon, something like that.
Perhaps. Yes.
Perhaps. It might.
Alert. From Kathy Wagner to all panelists: folks should check out the local resources like
Dragon and others have capability of controlling a computer with your voice to, insert underlines, to open programs. Wouldn't be necessary to run JAWS simultaneously, but it might be possible depending on what the computer was capable of.
Alert. From Brent Pike to all panelists: THX.
I've seen some typing programs that are jumbled when JAWS is running simultaneously because you get two auditory outputs because JAWS is talking and the typing program is talking. But if you are a JAWS user and JAWS gets turned off, just like the Ease of Access Center, you press the Windows key on the keyboard, you type in JAWS, you press enter, and that will start JAWS again. JAWS will give you the chance of having it start automatically when you turn your computer on, but there might be times when the program stops unexpectedly. What you would do is press the Windows key, type in JAWS, press enter, and it will start the program again so that you're not out of luck.
And as Kathy pointed out here in one of the comments, folks, that certainly local resources like Lighthouse for the Blind or the State Commission for the Blind, they very well might have local training on keyboards and where you can learn things like JAWS and ZoomText. Are you familiar with that, Nick, or is that usually state to state?
Yeah, I think that really depends on the state, I would say, or even the region. And unfortunately, in my area,
Microsoft Word document.
that hasn't always been available, but there are those out there who are pretty knowledgeable on the subject who might be willing to step in and provide that assistance.
Do you have any?
Say start with the Commission for the Blind to see what services they would recommend. Whatever resource your state has in terms of like the Commission for the Blind in New York, see what they would recommend, what they suggest.
Sure. Do you know if there's any apps or typing tutorials that people can use for keyboarding?
So I've only ever used two typing programs. There's one called Talking Typer, which is a couple $100, and I don't love because it tends to, and this is completely brutal honesty, but if you make a mistake while you're typing with Talking Typer, let's say you're typing, hello, my name is Nick, but I've added a P at the end of hello. That word is wrong and it doesn't accept any of the other words as being correct, even though they may have been correct. So working with somebody who's learning to type, they get very frustrated if they get 0 words per minute, but they actually typed 7 words in that minute or 20 words in that minute, but none of them counted. Fun with Typeability doesn't work like that. It is a different program. Again, it's called Fun with Typeability, and Typeability is one word. You could get 13 out of 14 words wrong in a sentence, but that one word you got right, it's going to tell you, 1 word per minute. So I would recommend that in terms of a typing program for somebody with low or no vision. That one, I believe, from what I remember, is a couple years ago was like $100 a year or $100 for the first year. But it's a subscription, so if you needed to keep using it beyond the first year, there's an additional cost, but maybe not quite so terrible. Plus, it's a little more forgiving and a little more encouraging than just making a beeping noise, which is what Talking Typer does if somebody makes a mistake.
We're moving some boxes here in the background. So there was somebody that said that you're moving and my son's moving. We're both doing a move right now. Brent asked another question. So when you're using JAWS, say you get a text message, or say somebody uses, he uses the word idiot. Somebody sends you a message that you might not want others to hear. How does that process work?
You're using JAWS on a computer and you're getting a message?
Like an instant message. You know, is there potentially embarrassing if on the speakers? Can you turn off messaging when you're using JAWS? Does that make sense?
To turn off JAWS can be customized. It's called scripting to change how it interacts with individual programs. I don't know how to script. I've never got into that, but I know that it is possible. That would probably be more complicated than you would want to do for a specific program like, just instant messaging or emails, that sort of thing. I would probably check to see if there is a way of turning, just muting that person if that's going to be a problem, or even minimizing that program or changing the volume on that program specifically so that it's not announcing it across your dedicated work area.
Perfect, thank you. I think we're set.
Yeah, that would probably be my suggestion. Okay, so a lot more to get to, I would say. I wanted to show you guys also with JAWS. Whoops. Sorry.
Alert.
So
you have alert.
Also with JAWS,
Desktop.
Capability of
reading order
reading PDFs to people. They call it convenient OCR, and those who were involved in I didn't just lose you guys, did I?
ZoomText shortcuts.pdf Adobe Acrobat Reader DC. To move document 1-word. To move to an item, press the arrow. Print task switching. Inbox left paren 11 right paren dash visible. Alert. From Kathy Wagner to all panelists : can you document 1-word. Meeting controls.
I thought I lost you guys. You're still there, aren't you?
We are.
Alert. Document 1.
Okay, like it was
AV
saying.
page view.
For those of you who have used JAWS before, you might realize that JAWS by default treats PDFs like pictures and thinks that there's no print in a picture, no print in the PDF, so it can't read a PDF to an individual. They've changed that a couple years ago.
Enter.
And now, JAWS, if you were to scan a document into your computer.
Start. AV page view. Document. Alert : empty document. It
would come out as a PDF, and this window here would come up. This document may be scanned image, which makes it difficult or impossible for JAWS or Fusion to read without first scanning the document with OCR. Would you like JAWS to OCR the document now? And yes, I would.
AV page view. Document OCR started. Alert. From Kathy Wagner to all panelists, space.
You might notice
shortcuts, blank, space.
On the screen here, it's changed the format of the document. The document before had a bunch of different ZoomText hotkeys, but they were all the same size font. When I utilize convenient OCR with JAWS, it has changed it, which is an ideal, but there's other programs that would be able to Give you more control.
Caps lock plus enter enhance colors :A. On/off caps lock plus C zoom text on/off :.
But if you're using JAWS anyway, it is possible. I've taught multiple people when I was a tech instructor how to do this. It is possible for people with literally no sight to be able to scan their documents into their computer using their printer scanner or other scanners, and then have JAWS read their mail to them. I had a lady who was over 60, was born without eyes, who was utterly moved that for the first time in her entire life, she wasn't beholden to other people to be able to read her own mail. And that's possible with the scanner that she had sitting on her desk anyway, and JAWS that she had been using for 20 years. She didn't know that that was possible. So that is, again, convenient OCR. It is a feature built into JAWS and something to think about if you're going to be using JAWS and or have a scanner available to you. Questions on that?
Meeting controls.
No, I think we're ready to move on.
Okay, good. More along the lines, though.
Desktop. Folder view. JAWS Professional.
Turn JAWS off now.
JAWS context menu.
And we're going to look at
Desktop.
So Openbook is also from Vis-Ability.
Welcome to Openbook version 9.0 in read-only mode.
A little different.
Acquire a page. Leaving menus.
And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to have Openbook scan the document, the same document we just saw a moment ago. And my printer's still on. It's going to scan the document and it's going to
acquire, view, text acquire, cancel acquisition canceled.
with Openbook that we didn't have with JAWS. Openbook is a different program and there is an additional cost with it, but depending on what you're needing it for, it might be a good choice too.
Welcome to Openbook version acquire a page. Leaving menus. Openbook 9.0 scan initiated.
There we go. So it's scanning the document that's still in my printer.
ZoomText 11 keyboard. Shortcuts.
So it's come out differently. It's completely changed the format, but I can change it if I
file. Leaving file. View. Exact view. Leaving menus.
It's your exact view of what the document looks like, which is nice. If you needed to maintain the
start ZoomText. Desktop. ACTRLD Alt plus Shift plus Z. View. The split view.
Or you can
leaving
split
menus.
The view.
Split view.
Be able to see the formatting taken off and the formatting maintained down below.
View. View. Exact view. Leaving menus. Exact view. Tools. Launch. Advanced. Settings. Low vision. Colors. Size. Low vision settings. Dialog. Smallest.
Different things about how the document is laid out. We can change the color.
White on black.
Size, etc., etc.
Out of dialog.
It's
low vision, low colors.
It's a way of scanning a document, but gives you more control over how the document is
spotlight
than you would get with JAWS convenient.
Fonts. Low vision settings dialog. Green on black. Customize button. Openbook settings. Visual settings page. Preferred view. Out of dialog. View, VIX, camera, split, VIX, text view. Leaving menus.
So
Text
again, we
view.
can change how it's laid out.
Low vision
It's
colors.
a little more friendly.
Size, low vision
for-
settings, dialog. Larger, 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 larger. Larger,
for your vision.
largest. The smaller. Out of dialogue.
And this is called Openbook.
File.
Here's a couple questions here. So
Open, edit.
primarily,
File.
Nick,
One.
it's still talking, sorry. This is
I'm
tricky.
done.
What is the primary difference then between JAWS and Openbook? And is that JAWS talking or is that Openbook using the voice?
So I turned JAWS off. The voice that we're hearing now is Openbook. The primary difference would be that JAWS is much more capable of managing the entire way an individual uses a computer, whereas Openbook is specifically for scanning and adjusting how the document is presented on the screen. It gives you a lot more control over how the document is presented on the screen than JAWS allows for. But it is specific for that functionality. Openbook is not part of Fusion, unlike ZoomText.
Dave asked a question and he said, wait to the end, but I'm just going to go ahead and ask it now. These are very robotic voices. Is there any way, especially with all of our technology here, to make it sound more human?
File.
There is some variation in voice, but it's not going to be as human sounding as some of the
Acquire.
devices that we saw in previous weeks. It's just
Acquire.
I guess,
Settings.
a priority for them. And there is feedback
Advanced.
I've got from people
Settings.
regarding the robotic voice.
Set. Speech. Gender. Speech setting. Speech settings page.
It's called
Voice
Eloquence.
selection. Combo box reading voice.
Sappy 5.
Reading voice settings
Friends.
synthesizer.
Romans.
Combo box eloquence voices.
Romans.
Eloquence voices.
Romans.
This is David.
Romans.
That's a little better, I would say,
Romans.
but it's still a little synthetic sound.
Romans.
But we can adjust the rate and the pitch and all that.
Romans.
I'm not sure how well you guys can hear that.
Yeah, we can hear it pretty well.
Okay.
Brent says it makes him feel like he's
Out
on a
of dialogue.
war in the 80s.
I'm sorry, say that again?
No, Brent was just sharing that that sounds like it's a War Games movie from the 80s.
Yeah, I suppose you get used to it. I've worked with people with JAWS who use it at a speech rate that is indistinguishable to my ear. And they tell me that they hear it just fine. And they understand it just fine. And I can tell that they understand it just fine because they're capable of doing everything that they're trying to do with it. But it probably does take a little time to get used to for somebody who's not accustomed to the robotic sounding of these types of programs.
We have a few more things to go through, and I know we're getting kind of closer to that time. So let's keep moving forward.
Please
We're
no
doing-
dialogue.
Great. So I've closed Openbook. Read and write, which I've tended to see more for students because of some of the functionality is more student friendly. I've included because it also offers a free 30-day trial. So if you wanted to check that out, it might be something worth looking into. Across the top of the screen now, I have the read and write icons. And it does give you the chance to scan a document and then change the formatting, take notes, that sort of thing. It also has the opportunity to record your voice and talk and type like Dragon. There was a brief video that I thought would best show off Read and Write's capabilities, if you will.
Read and Write from Text Help, the easy-to-use literacy software family that makes the web, documents, and files more accessible in the classroom, at home, and on any device. Read and Write is great for students of all ages and at all grade levels, including those with dyslexia and other learning difficulties. And it's also a big confidence booster for young people whose first language isn't English. From essays and assignments to online study, Read and Write makes life easier for anyone who can use a little extra help with their everyday literacy. Let's take a closer look. Struggling readers can hear on-screen text read out loud with different voices and adjustable reading speed to suit any listener. Speech-to-text transcribes students' words as they talk. It's ideal for capturing thoughts on the fly, especially for young people who find typing tricky. Word prediction helps reluctant writers express themselves, offering word suggestions as you type. There's a talking dictionary, picture dictionary, and fact finder that make research faster, easier, and more fun. And there's a translator for French, Spanish, and other languages. These colored highlighters are great for collecting and...
Yes, so they're presenting it very much as a student-based program. But like I said, it is free for a 30-day trial, and we'll give you a chance to see how the scanning program worked for them, or the text-to-speech, rather the talk-to-type, rather.
What is the cost, Nick?
Oh goodness, I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay.
I would anticipate it would be less than some of the other programs that we talked about, but I don't have a cost for that, unfortunately. And then Dragon, which unfortunately I can't show you guys because it doesn't have a free trial, but does have a very capable interface. I wanted to show you guys this brief video here. If there's no other questions on Read and Write.
No, there's no questions.
Okay. So again, like I said, Dragon,
Dragon adapts to your unique voice, your environment, and ultimately becomes more accurate as you dictate. Take a look.
Pursuant to our conversation regarding ongoing consulting services, this letter outlines.
So for those of you who are not seeing what's happening on the screen, the lady is speaking, Dragon is about to dictate it, including punctuation, into text.
An agreement between MWP Financial and insert my company for digital marketing services, period. New paragraph. Insert my company agrees to develop and deliver a digital brochure which outlines the scope of services provided by MWP Financial, including, but not limited to, underline but not limited to.
But that's not all. More than just speech recognition, Dragon extends powerful features to meet your unique business needs. Tailor the vocabulary with the industry terms you use each day. Create voice commands to shortcut repetitive steps. And instantly transcribe voice recordings into text and eliminate transcription time and costs. And since work doesn't stand still, neither does Dragon. Pair Dragon Desktop with Dragon Anywhere, our cloud-based professional-grade mobile dictation solution, and keep working from anywhere. Put your voice to work.
So again, Dragon is unique in that it has all those capabilities. I've worked with multiple individuals who had written their own book using Dragon to dictate the entire book into print. If that was something that was a priority or that capability was what I was looking for
Today,
I would recommend Dragon from what I've seen. And it is compatible with Windows, and like they mentioned, has on-the-go capability with Android or iOS. Any questions there?
Yeah, Brent asks again, does it work with people who have some speech impediments? Even Scottish accents are interpreted?
I can't answer that. I did work with a gentleman who had some cognitive delays, and Dragon was, I mean, he had a lot of challenges even using JAWS, but Dragon made it possible for him to do things that he wouldn't have been able to do it without Dragon, that's for sure.
You know, this isn't a question that's been raised by anyone, but I have heard, again, my colleagues within the foundation, you know, trying to decide what applications to use. You know, Lynn Ogg had a time with Dragon, and then JAWS, and other folks that I know, my friends here. Is there a way that you think that you could provide us knowledge or ideas about how to choose which application best fits our lifestyle and our work situations?
I think that's not going to be an easy to answer question, that's for sure. I think for the average person, you have to try something to know if it's going to be possible for them, which is great that so many of these programs are all available as a free trial period. But in terms of whether or not somebody would prefer Openbook to Kurzweil, I think that depends on their own.
Mm-hmm. You know, one of the things that I think is great about this webinar here, I'll just share this. This is good intel because a lot of, as I said, our members are using these programs. So I'll just share these comments so that people can learn from them. From Brian, he says, don't forget about NVDA. NVDA has IMO, 95% of the capabilities of JAWS, and it's free. I really like it. In Windows 10, the voices can be adjusted and some are really good. Wayne Thompson shares, or asks a question, sorry, are there microphones that cover the mouth to muffle your voice while dictating? There's a question.
Muffle your voice while dictating? I can't answer that. I haven't that much experience with microphones to be able to speak to that. Sorry. And yes, yeah, is a great suggestion. I'm sorry I didn't put it on the slides, but NVDA is free, and it is certainly worth a look if you need a screen reader.
What does that stand for? Oh, that's okay. I thought maybe you'd know. Maybe they'll check.
No, I don't know off the top of my head. But it's, go ahead.
While you're looking, I'm going to read another comment. I think this is probably from, yeah, this has got to be from Eric. Used Dragon for about 7 years. I was able to learn, it was able to learn my specific pronunciation of certain words. In each of those, I could add my own vocabulary library. So it could easily type New Orleans when I said, I'm not going to say this correctly, Nolans. Yeah, and then from David, on Mac computers, Mac has built-in features for zooming, contrast, cursor size. They can be found by going to Stream System Preferences, Accessibility, and Zoom. My favorite features are enabling use keyboard shortcuts to zoom and use scroll gestures with modifier key to zoom. It allows me to hold a specific key and then use the lap touch pad or a wireless mouse touchpad to zoom in and out really quickly with 1 or 2 fingers scrolling. I use this all the time on my Mac and while I work at home. I'm going to see, guys, if I can type up these suggestions too, get a copy of the chat here, and maybe we can type these up and share these suggestions also. And then more information about the Mac. again, more information about the Mac from David. Thank you, David, for all of these. I'm going to try to take some pictures here and share these. Kate Edwards, what is the acronym? Oh, sorry. Yep. Yeah. What's the acronym for the free screen?
I found it. It's non-visual desktop access, or NVDA. Non-visual, one word, desktop access.
Thank you.
Yeah. And that's a great suggestion. Whoever brought that up. Surely not to be missed. It's if you don't have an employer or a state or an agency that is willing to purchase JAWS for you, and you're a PC user, so VoiceOver isn't an option, NVDA may be able to get the job done for you. So certainly a good place to check.
I think we have about 10 more minutes max that I've reserved time, so we should move on and finish up.
The last one that I won't take a minute with, Kurzweil 1000 is, again, a screen reader, or is capable of text-to-speech. This is what happens when you don't sleep all week. So Kurzweil 1000, and there's other versions of Kurzweil too. This one also has a free 30.
The selected topic is getting help in Kurzweil 1000. This demonstration will expire in 30 days. Hello, and welcome to the Kurzweil 1000, version 14.14. Press the rectangular key at the bottom right corner of the keypad for assistance. Start new scan, F9.
In my printer.
Scan complete. The confidence level for this page was 94.6.
And it will give us the opportunity to make notes on this page.
Settings has a sub-menu.
And I think the format here has actually come out a little better than
Read has a sub-menu. Scan has a subfolder. Has a sub-menu.
Not quite as 100%.
Scan has a sub-read. Has a sub-navigation. Has a sub-settings. Has a sub-menu.
Available as a free download, so if you wanted to give that a shot, something to think.
Tools has a sub-menu.
If you're tired of relying on other people to read your mail to you, there's plenty of options that would make that task accessible and available to you, regardless of what your vision is like.
Hey, we have from our Canadian friends, hello, Bob and Kate. Can we ask a quick question, of course, how to turn on VoiceOver on a Mac computer?
You would go to the settings and then accessibility, general settings. I don't have a Mac computer, so I couldn't show you guys that, unfortunately. But it's, again, if you missed last week's webinar, that's available on iPhones and iPads too, provided they're new enough.
I think that's, anybody else have more questions? Nobody's chatting right now. So I did take pictures, guys, screenshots. So I'll write over, I will type up those comments and suggestions from all of you, and we'll make sure we add that. I think that's it. All right.
Well, I wanted to thank you guys for the opportunity to talk with you guys for the last several weeks. It's been very nice. Obviously, the world we live in now has changed quite a bit, but it's been very nice to be able to put some time into putting these presentations together for you guys, and I do hope that they were helpful. And I will look forward to meeting all of you next year when you guys come to Rochester and we have our conference and the world is back to normal.
Yeah, we can certainly hope so, right? And, you know, as a representative of the foundation, we thank you so very much for donating your time, especially this last week. You've been moving across the state of great New York. So we just thank you too very much. And we want to make sure we thank again our sponsors, Biogen and Allergan. And again, to everybody who's still here, we still have quite a few folks. Please type in your suggestions, other things that you would like. And I think that wraps it up. All right, we're so very thankful to everyone. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Again, we'll be sending out the survey, and we'll be sending out a link to the recording, and we look forward to seeing everyone again in the near future. Take care. Be safe.
Yeah.
See you
Stay
soon.
safe, everyone.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.